Hey everyone, welcome to Heavy Metal Guns and Outdoors. I had a customer bring this by. This is a beautiful Dan Wesson 357 Magnum. And what he would like to get done, of course, good cleaning. And as you can see, there's some of the bluing has wore off here, pretty bad. On the cylinder, looks more like a holster wear pretty much. Down on the trigger guard, and there's a pretty little rough spot right there. Can you see that okay? But he does not want to re-blue the whole firearm. So what we're going to do is, of course, clean it, and we're going to try to blue the bad areas and blend them into the original and see what we can do with that. And of course, first things first, check the firearm, and it is empty. And what I want to do is get this handle off. We don't want any of our chemicals or anything getting on that, messing it up. And then these old Dan Wessons are not, just sitting around for cheap money, that's for sure. But basic Allen head. That should just slide right off of there. And it did. We'll set this over here out of the way. As we can see, we've got a little bit of rust down in here too. So we'll get that cleaned up and put some more bluing on it. A lot of times it's what you don't see that will cause an issue. Now I want to get the cylinder out of this. So what we're going to do in order to do that, take this side cover off. That is 2 Allen heads, one here and one here. Of course, we got our magnet tray. Definitely don't want to lose anything. And keep them in order. The top one is a short screw, excuse me, and the bottom one's a long one. Now, sort of a little wiggle jiggle going on here. We'll get this thing taken apart. Alright, now there's our side plate. Set it right there because there's some cleanup and some bluing we got to do on it. Now, see if the camera will catch this. Right there. There's a little half moon clip that we need to remove in order to get our cylinder and crane out. But the easiest way is just take a magnet it comes right out of there. You definitely don't want to lose that little guy. Then we can just pick our cylinder up, carefully slide it out. You see, you got a spring and a plunger here. You don't want to lose, and it'll easily fall right out. We're going to go ahead and take that out. Set that in a little magnetic parts tray. Alright, the inside of this gun actually looks really nice. There's not a whole lot of nothing in there, except for some oil. There's really nothing that we need to do to the inside of the gun. But what I am going to do is put this side plate back on for now. That'll keep anything from falling out while we're working on it. And then before we do our final assembly, I'll put some more oil down in there. Let's go ahead and replace this. Just one of them better safe than sorry things. Alright. Now what we're going to do is take our brake clean. And I just want to get anything off this, any type of contaminants or anything like that before we go any further. Because we're fixing to take our 4/0 steel wool and we're going to do some buffing all over the gun, and that will let us know where our bad spots are. And yeah, again, I highly suggest that y'all wear gloves when doing this. I just don't have any today, and I'll live, my hands won't fall off. That brake clean's pretty good. It's stripping most of the oil and everything off, and got all of our contaminants off of there. Not too bad. Alright, the next thing we're going to do before we go any further is tape up this sight, because we don't want to get anything on. Grab a little bit of blue tape, because that is a plastic type insert, and things like the brake cleaner will harm it. So we'll be better safe than sorry on this. Well, hopefully that'll stay on there and protect it really well. Alright, now, next thing we're going to do, I've got a brand new piece of 4/0 steel wool, and we're going to just put a little oil on it. We'll just use some of the spray, and we'll get this thing wiped down. And while we're wiping it down, what I'd like to do before that, get some of this good old hops powder solvent in there. So like I say, if you don't get it good and clean, then you're not doing the whole job. And this could be soaking down in there while we're doing our other stuff. I got that barrel pretty good. Get that around our cone. You just get that hops in there. Be liberal with it. And this stuff works well, but you need to get it in there and let it soak good. Alright, get our cylinders a time or two with it. I'll get down in that face right there too. Good place for contaminants to get down in. One of them things you don't see it, so you don't think about it. Yeah, get that thing open. Get that cleaner down in there really, really well. We'll take our little brass brush here shortly and run it down through there before we take our brake clean and go over it. Alright, throw that in the way, it's done. I'll put our lid on. That'll be plenty of our hops. That should do the trick. Now what I want to do is just take a little bit of spray rim oil and just throw me a light coat all over this thing. And I'll take a new piece of our 4/0 steel wool and then just go to work on it. I'm not applying a lot of pressure on this. And what pressure I am applying, just keep it nice and even and smooth. That's how pretty that's looking right there. Now we'll come up here to where its bad spot is. Do want to do a little extra pressure on that. Try to get that buffed out there. And on our trigger guard. Something like this, just do as you see I'm doing here. Take your time. You're in no big rush. And if you take your time and do a good job, and it will show in the end. Tell you what, I wish I had a hot tank and I could do that factory looking blue like that. That would be awesome. Who knows, maybe one of these days. Get that trigger a little bit. Alright, that's got that. Let's hit our cylinder, because remember we had some bad spots on it. Now you can see where the bluing's still good right there. That is just beautiful once you buff it out a little bit. But as we come around to that bad spot right there, you can sure tell it. Do a little extra on that. A little more pressure. That there actually has some pitting in it. Let's see if we can do a little bit with that. I'm just going to grab, we're not going to get too carried away. I'm going to grab a Scotch-Brite pad, okay? And we just leave our oil on there. That'll help get some of that out of there. I'll go ahead and hit our crane and everything pretty good. Alright, not too bad at all. Alright, well our hops have been soaking while we've been doing that. Sort of killing two birds with one stone here. Let's go ahead and grab our brass brush. Run her down through here. Actually, this gun's pretty clean. This gentleman takes very good care of them. But I wouldn't feel right if I didn't clean it while I had it here, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that way, just anything in there will get it broke up with that little old brush. Alright, now we're going to take our brake clean and really hose this thing down. I'll go down here to my garbage can, do that. Another can. That thing's pretty clean. There's a couple clean rags here. Get our excess brake clean off. And like I said before, during the summertime, the brake clean's no big deal. It evaporates really quick. During the winter like this, it does not. And as you can see, parts of that cylinder are just beautiful from where we polished it out. And then we have that part that we're going to have to do some blending on to get all the holster wear apparently. And get the rest of this cleaned off best we can. Not bad. I'm going to take my tape off. I'm sure some of that got down in there still. It'll be 100% to get that clean. Just in case there's a little brake clean. Got seat down in there. Got a cup of water over here. I'm going to dip that. That way, we're 100% sure we get the brake clean out of there. We don't harm that front side insert. Alright. It's got us in pretty good shape as far as clean. Even though it didn't need it that much, it's very well taken care of. And now what we're going to do is do our blue. Now we took the brake clean and we wiped everything down, so everything should be grease free as long as I don't touch it with my hands. And this is where it would come in handy if you had some gloves also. Well, what we're going to be using is the Birchwood Casey. We'll be using some Perma Blue, which is more black. And I'm also going to be using the Super Blue, which has the blue tint to it. We'll do a coat or two of the Perma Blue and try to get our base color down. Then we'll use however much we need of the Super Blue. Try to get that blended in. And I will be going over the whole gun with the blue. And that'll help us blend it in. If there's some, I mean, you can look at it and see there's where there. If you look down the barrel, you see where some holster wear has just lightly got it. I mean, versus this side versus that side. So yeah, running through and just putting blue in over the whole firearm seems to be the smart thing to do. Same way with the cylinder, we'll be running over all of it also. Alright, first thing we'll do is grab a Perma Blue. Hook it up. Alright, I got some of these little cotton pads here. Things are just handy for doing this. Get a good generous amount on. Alright, and just see what we can get in here. Like I say, I'm going to hit every part of it. Of course, right in here especially, that's where troublesome spot is. Down the barrel. This bluing will not hurt or harm any of the factory bluing that's on there. What we're going to be doing is just catching some of the spots that maybe I don't see by rubbing over the whole gun. And that'll give us an overall much nicer finish when we'll get through with it. Get into every spot that I can. Down on the insides too. Like I say, don't be stingy with it. Get in there and work it in the best you can. The better you work everything in and the harder you go at it, the better your results are going to be, of course. And we'll get this bad spot here first. You can see it immediately going to work on that spot too. Get the whole thing. Make sure you get down any flukes there. All the parts of my crane. Even though the crane looks fine, again, there could be some small parts that I'm missing and I just don't see. Alright. Back around into a bad spot. Take the other side, the clean side. Go back over that some more. Alright. Basically going over the whole process again. You notice I'm not taking any of the fluid off, I'm not using any water on it like normally. When I'm trying to blend something, this is how I do it. And it seems to work out pretty well for me. One spot there is going to try to be a tough one. And you're going to find, especially on these older guns, some spots you just do not want to take the bluing. That's one of them things you just got to live with it. Do the best you can. Rock and roll. We're going to let that thing sit for a few minutes. Alright, now I'm just going to take a rag that I dipped in just some clean water. wipe over that first coat of bluing. Just a clean rag. Get our water dried off of there. Yeah, it's a little bit of a process. Make sure you have the time to put into it when you start something like this. Trying to find that bad place. Okay, there it is. You remember what the bad place looked like? There we go, with just one coat. So I mean, yeah, that's doing fantastic on this thing. Water wiped off of the frame and barrel assembly. See how that's looking. Oh, not bad at all. If you remember, our top bluing was pretty much gone on it. You can just see in one coat. We really brought that back. Same with our trigger guard. She really jumped up there. That little problem spot right there that we're going to have to tend to. But the rest of it seems to be doing just fine. Let's grab our heat gun. Not get everything super hot, but we just wanted to place any of the water and the moisture that we got on there. And it does seem like when you heat the parts up a little bit, that the bluing just takes better. That may be me, but it seems like it works out better. Like I say, we ain't trying to melt it down or nothing. It's just a low-cost, cheapy heat gun, but it seems to do the trick. Alright. That's definitely got all our moisture displaced off of there. Let's go back to our regular Perma Blue. What we're trying to do with this Perma Blue, since it's mostly black, is trying to get our depth of color back. Don't want that brown look or anything like that. Really want to get that thing black down in there. Hit this spot right here first. That seems to be our worst culprit right now. Alright, and again, go over everything. Of course, pay close attention to your known bad spots, that's for sure. Alright, now this time we're going to actually sit there and give it, I'm probably going to give it a good 10 minutes. Drying time, then I'll come back with a wet rag and go over it again and see what we got. We're on our fourth coat with the Perma Blue. So what we're going to do is grab us another piece of clean towel and dip it in some water and run over it. Yeah, this is starting to look pretty good. So just a little time and patience will get you a long way, that's for sure. We got us a good depth with our first bluing. You see it got in them spots pretty well. Nice black finish there. So now what we're going to do is switch from our Perma Blue to our Super Blue. Now the Super Blue tends to be more, I have more of a blue tint to it, whereas the perma blue just has a black tint to it. This is where we're going to try to blend it in where it doesn't look that bad. Go ahead, get some on there. I've already cleaned this again, took the heat gun to it, displaced all the water. Alright, now we'll let that sit for a few. Then we'll take our 4/0 steel wool and make sure it's wet, dip it in some fresh water, and then we'll start buffing on her. Alright, a few minutes curing time there. Take our 4/0 steel wool, get it good and wet, and then gently buff where we just put our blue in. Go ahead and hit the rest of the gun. You're not going to hurt anything. Alright, good for a steel wool. I'm just going to grab another clean piece of paper towel, wet it, and then wipe back over. Alright, not bad at all. Get her all dried off. And then we'll repeat the process with the super blue, using the 4/0 steel wool very lightly, probably about 2 or 3 more times. As you can see, after about 3 coats of the super blue, cylinder turned out looking pretty nice. This was our bad section here. I haven't oiled it yet. Once we put the oil on there and let it cure, that should be just beautiful. As far as the rest of the firearm, the top turned out really nice. Remember, that was almost down to the metal. So did this side plate turned out well. Our bottom and the bottom of our trigger guard. So everything's going fantastic except spot right there. Yeah, y'all see that one? What somebody has done is taken some sandpaper to that one time or another. So we're really going to have to work the dog out of that and try to get it where it's evened out and it accepts some bluing. So even though I didn't want to strip this gun no more than I had to in this particular spot, it's going to have to be done. We'll take our Scotch-Brite and see if we can feather that out some. For you car guys that do body work, you know what I'm talking about. For you other people, when I say feather out, what I'm saying is, see that bad spot right there? Start in the middle of that and just keep going back and forth out to the edges. And what we're trying to do is get that all smoothed down and uniform, because until we do, we're not going to get the blue in there well, and it's not going to look good. Which somebody may have sanded too far and ruined that spot already, but y'all know me, I ain't going to give up. There's something on there, I don't know what that was. Alright, so just continue to polish this out until you get a uniform look to it. As you can see, we are getting there. And I'm going to continue on to this, and then we'll go to the next step to try to fix this very bad spot. I got pretty liberal with the Scotch-Brite, as you can see, and got that all feathered out. Then I took some 4/0 steel wool and buffed the crap out of it, and of course degreased it. Now what we're going to do is go back to our perma blue, and this is probably going to take several coatings to try to get this thing to blue back up and get anywhere near dark. And it's just one of the things, y'all, don't never take sandpaper or something like that and just dig in there on any kind of firearm. It's just not going to bode well. All right, well, as you can see, I do believe it's going to accept the bluing. So we really lucked out there. It's going to be quite a job to blend it together, but we'll get it there. We'll flip over to this clean side. As you can see, even after I degreased it and all, there's still a little something on there. And go back and forth like that. Yes, it seems to be accepting the bluing well. Well, we're lucking out on that, that's for sure. I'm going to take a little bit of, this is a clean piece of 4/0 steel wool. While this bluing's still on there, and just lightly, and I mean I'm just lightly buffing that, trying to get a little blend going on. Then I'll put a little bit more of a bluing on there. All right, we'll let that sit a little bit and just continue the process. Perma blue, buff a little with the 4/0. Just keep going back and forth like that. When we get an even color across there, then we'll go back to our super blue and try to blend it and make it look nice. Working on this for a while. I got about 6 coats of the perma blue, a couple of the super blue, and I even pulled out the Brownells Oxbow blue. This metal just does not want the blue back correctly. But I've got it blued, just lighter. I got a good coverage on it, and it should be a good protection against rust. And actually, we blended it in pretty decent. But this is a good lesson learned here. If you have a firearm, you do see some rust on it, don't take a piece of sandpaper to it. You know, 4/0 steel wool is your friend. That and some oil, and see what you can do. If it's worse than that, then it's time for just a total re-bluing. But I told this gentleman that I would do the best I can with this, and like I say, that spot there, compared to what it was, it looks great, or it looks okay. But I mean, the top, you know, turned out awesome. So that bottom piece and the trigger guard and all, and even our cylinder turned out good, so I'm happy with that. Alright, let's go ahead and put this back together. I'll get her all oiled up when I do. And we'll get her wiped down. We'll see what the end product looks like. We got her all assembled. We got it oiled. I'd have to say. Remember when we started? All of this blended together really nice and blued up well. Underneath, not bad at all. Even our terrible spot really doesn't look that bad. We did get it to accept some bluing and got it blended some, so not terrible at all. Alright guys, this is normally when we blue something, we're going to leave it sitting out here overnight, and then we'll call the gentleman in the morning and wipe it down and tell him to come and get it. And hopefully he likes it. I put a lot of time and effort in on it, as you can see. Of course, I do a lot of editing. You really don't see how long it takes to do something like that, but I've been at it for several hours trying to get that thing looking just as nice as I could. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you learned a thing or two about bluing, about taking care of your firearm, not using sandpaper. And if you would, please leave me any comments, suggestions, and any questions that you have. We're happy to get to them. And if you're able, visit us on our Patreon page. And I know you're able, and I wish you would, hit that like and subscribe button. Again, thank y'all very much. and have you a wonderful day.